Good evening at 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. I'm not quite sure who's doing the roll.
I got you. I got the
Okay.
roll.
Commissioner Aplikowski?
Here.
Commissioner Goodwin?
Here.
Commissioner Steeler?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Young?
Here.
Commissioner Stender?
Here.
Chair Gerard?
Here.
Full house.
Whereas you're able, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chair is looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented or with changes.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. It's a non-debatable motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We're at our open forum part of our meeting. I want to thank all the citizens for coming out tonight. This is a time, if you have anything you'd like to say to the Planning Commission, we welcome your comments. I will point out that if you were looking to talk, make comments regarding either the setback variance or the interim use permit for Lavender, Dahlia, that there will be a separate public hearing for that. But if you have some other item you'd like to bring up, we welcome your comments now. At the open forum, we ask you to come up, state your name and address for the record, spend a couple of minutes getting your thoughts. Anyone wish to speak this evening? Anything to be read in this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you. We'll close the open forum. Chair is looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda considerations. There's two items on there. To approve the meeting minutes from July 8th and approve the meeting minutes from July 22nd.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I will abstain. since
One
I was
abstention?
absent.
Motion carries. We'll move to our first item, item 7, regular agenda item. It's a public hearing, setback variance for 955 7th Street Southeast. Alayna, Gonzales, and the Planning Commission will make the decision on this. The way this will work this evening is the staff will give us a report as they understand the application. We will then ask any follow-up questions that we have to make sure we understand the application. We will then ask the applicant if they'd like to add anything to the discussion. Once we've heard from all that, any questions for that, we will then move to the public hearing. I'll describe a little more what we do during that. And we will close the public hearing and it'll come back for further discussion and a decision by the Planning Commission. So with that, Brian?
Good evening. Before you tonight is a variance request for a deck addition at 955 7th Street Southeast. The homeowner is present tonight. The applicant owns the property at 955 7th Street Southeast. This property is in our MXR2 zoning district and is also located in the Shoreland Overlay District. Both the existing lot and the existing home on the property are legally vested nonconformities. And the applicant is requesting to remove an existing landing on the house and add a deck to the south side of the house, which would, as proposed, have a 7-foot setback. And this is the subject of the variance request tonight. And they are proposing to construct it on the south side of the existing home, facing 10th Avenue Southeast. This is their side street. As proposed, it would extend approximately 12 feet out from the existing house. City code requires a 25-foot setback from side streets. The existing home is built with a 19-foot setback. And if built, the proposed deck would have a 7-foot setback. So this would be the variance of 18 feet that's being requested this evening. We evaluated the request against the city's variance criteria regarding unique conditions. We recognize that this is a non-conforming lot and a non-conforming house. In MXR2, the minimum lot width is 80 feet, while this property is approximately 50 feet wide. And the location of the existing home would prevent any ability to meet setbacks for any additional structure. We find that the proposed use is reasonable and consistent for a single-family dwelling in the MXR2. The applicant is requesting to remove an existing landing that is in need of repair and add the deck in order to improve the safety of the home. This situation was not created by the current owner. This lot configuration and the building location predate the ownership of the property. And we find that this change won't harm nearby properties or alter the neighborhood character. Doing a quick analysis of other properties on that face 10th Avenue Southeast, nearly all of them have some sort of non-conforming structure or setback. And so overall, we find that it maintains the intent of the code. In particular for shoreland overlay, I do want to note that the proposed deck will not include any impervious surface beneath it, so it does not count towards the maximum impervious surface coverage and is not subject to any sort of variance for that request. Based on those findings, staff recommends approval of resolution 08-12-2601, authorizing an 18-foot side street setback variance. This approval would come with the standard variance conditions, including a requirement for any approval to follow all rules from the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District, and establishing a 1-year time limit for construction on the variance. And I'm here to answer any questions from staff. The applicant is also here.
Before I ask if anyone has questions, first off, Michael, I apologize for calling you Brian. It looked like it threw you for a loss, and I'm not sure where Brian came from, so my apologies. So, anyone else have questions for staff? Susan?
We really tried to make not to make non-conforming properties way more non-conforming.
Yeah.
Did the applicant say why they were not willing to put this deck, which would be cool, between the house and the garage, so that it was not sticking out much farther than other things on that street, and quite frankly, probably wouldn't need the variance?
Correct. This is essentially an entrance to the house. There is no door on the east side of the property. I believe that is the main reason. This is essentially to enforce what is existing there now is in need of repair and is not conforming with any sort of building code. So this is an opportunity to improve that.
But between the garage, I mean, there's a travel way there that's, okay.
I think one of the major issues, and we've been talking a lot about this one, is it's kind of the quirk of the code. For all intents and purposes, functionally, this is not really the side setback, it's the front of it's where the entrance is. So, but our code says the shortest end is the front. So that's really where staff is coming at in support of this, because this is, for all intents and purposes, the front of the house where the entrance is.
Other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Don.
So, I mean, based on the language in the packet, the city seems to be in favor of this at 7 feet. So I'm curious, where would the city draw the line and why? Yeah.
All variances are considered on a case-by-case basis. What the applicant is requesting, what is in the surrounding area, how is it meeting our standards. This is also kind of a funkiness of what we're considering a deck. This is not going to be like a 10-foot tall thing coming off of a second floor of a building. This is also not an extension of the house. I think if they were requesting to literally move the house to a 7-foot setback, we would probably view it differently. But in this case, we're finding that it's not having a significant impact on what is there surrounding neighborhood.
So it's at ground level, it's not raised at all, it's at ground level with no railings or anything?
It's not a patio, but it's not significantly raised. I don't have the height directly in front of me.
You know, we've been down this road with similar variances on these small lots. And we've gone reasonably small on the side setback with, you know, you're looking at a 50-foot wide lot that's oddly placed to begin with, and the house is only 16 feet wide. I mean, it's not a real big place. So I personally don't have any problem with it on these little back side streets that we have, but that's just my opinion. Andy?
If you look at the picture that has the tree highlighted on them, it looks like the deck is still gonna be 21 feet from the road. The setback is a lot line, I'm assuming, right?
We're measuring it from the property line. One, I do want to note that that tree is not at the property, so this deck is not affecting that.
Sure.
And then, yes, correct, it'll be 21 full feet from the road. From their property line, it'll be 7 feet.
So it's not like it's encroaching on the road.
So it's still 21 feet from the road? Okay, so it's the setback from the property line?
Correct.
With the easement there, okay. That-
And then I
feel
have
better
one,
about that.
one more. On the resolution, it says the setback from the ordinary high water mark. Is that the actual?
Nope, that's a correction we'll
Okay.
need to make.
Okay, all right, just check it.
Other questions of staff? Tim?
What's the width of the current patio that's there now?
I do not have that information there. It is,
I would say between 4 and 5 feet, and it's like a 3-level landing with no stair rails. It's like super unsafe to get down.
So it's 30 feet to the house. And it's only 12.
So, excuse me, you're the applicant, correct? Maybe come up here. You know, you're on TV, so we want to make sure that, no pressure.
I didn't know that.
That the audience can, well, that's why we have the microphone. So please state your name and address for the record.
Alayna Gonzales, our address is 955 7th Street Southeast, Forest Lake, Minnesota.
Would you now describe what you currently have there?
So like the bottom of the base, I would say is like 5 feet, but it's like 3 or 4, I don't know, 3.5 feet, no. And then there's like a small stair around and another small stair around with no railing, so it's pretty unsafe, to be honest. It's super slippery, so.
Will that all be removed prior to
Yeah,
the build?
we're gonna take, and that's attached to the house now, so we're having it removed and then redone. Or hopefully redone.
Question to the applicant?
Had you considered just making the, right out your front door narrow and then having the deck between the house and the garage?
We were considering asking for like a permit or the process of like putting a whole sliding glass door, but that was just way more expensive. So no, like it was way more expensive than we could afford.
Other questions of the applicant? Thank you. We may have other questions for you later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Otherwise, I'll hold a public hearing. This is a public hearing. We ask that if you wish to speak to this application, please step up, state your name and address for the record, spend a couple minutes giving your thoughts. Once we have heard from everyone who wishes to speak, we will close the public hearing and bring it back for final comments and a motion from the Planning Commission. So with that, we'll open the public hearing at 6:13 PM. Does anyone wish to speak to this application? Do we have anything to be read into the minutes? Anything we receive, emails or anything?
we do not.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask one more time. Does anyone wish to speak to this application? Seeing no one come forward, we will close the public hearing. It's also at 6:13 PM. So with that, Commissioner Susan?
I have one more question for staff. In the review comments, it says that you received several review comments from stakeholders, but all I'm seeing is that a building permit is needed. What were the other comments, and who were the other stakeholders?
The other comments were that there were no comments, but we sent this out to our engineering, fire, public works, and the watershed district. And I think the watershed district came back saying that they're kind of standard discussion points, which is if they're disturbing a certain amount of soil, it'll require soil erosion control permit.
Other discussion, comments? Otherwise, the chair would look forward to a motion.
All right, I will make a motion to the chair for resolution number 08-12-26-01, approving an 18-foot side street setback variance for the construction of an attached deck at the property located at 9557 Street Southeast.
With the conditions.
With the conditions attached. The 5 conditions attached.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Chair, I don't have an issue with this particular concept if it weren't such a large variance and setting the precedent for continued, well, you know, they got an 18-foot, so I can have this. And I am really concerned, and would ask staff that if, considering the history of variances we've been having over the past year or so, rather than continuing to do variances, if it's pretty much whatever folks want, then change your ordinances. Because your ordinances have no reason for being, except for having people go through a process of a variance and the expense of a variance, if we're going to be just granting variance after variance after variance, especially really significant variances.
You know, Susan, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but, you know, you're looking at a house that was built within the setback to begin with. I mean, so our options in this case gets to be fairly minimal, except to potentially deny it. And then you would have the argument that, are they getting reasonable use? It sounds like they're gonna put a deck on, that'll be safe, and, so, you know, we get on these small lots, and you're right, it's very tricky, to get it to all work, but I think that somewhat comes with the territory, in my humble opinion.
And quite frankly, the house was built before we had
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so,
I don't know how
so
old this-
saying that it was built and was a variance, not so much, okay? But my concern stands. If we're going to have, just approve pretty much every variance that comes down the pipe, either us or the council, it's not reasonable to have folks need to keep applying for variances if we have no intention of.
I hear you,
Okay, thank you.
I hear you. Any other discussion?
Through the chair. I mean, I would have been a lot happier if it was an 8-foot deck. I mean, I feel like they pushed the envelope as far as they could on this one. If it would have been 14 foot, I would have denied it. 12 was right at the cutoff. I would have been a lot happier. That's why I asked to see how long or how wide the previous stoop was. So I think they're right at the max that I would have allowed for, in this case.
Noted. Andy?
Do we need to amend the resolution before we pass it to fix the language, or is that something that can be done?
That's just a minor change. We'll update that quick fix.
Okay.
So you'll have to do a new resolution then for me.
Yeah, we'll have to see you in the middle of the week to come sign it, yeah.
Okay.
Can we just say as amended, as planned to be amended? And that would help with the legalities and
Yeah.
the fussing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, pardon me, no. I was a no.
Opposed, 1 no.
Correct.
Am I correct? Abstentions?
I'm gonna not vote. I live like 5 houses away, and I don't want to show a bias.
Aye. Motion carries with a 5-1 and 1 vote. So what happens now, the planning commission is the final decision. However, if someone would want to appeal this decision, they may. They have a week to reach out to the city and file a motion of appeal. There is a whole process for that, and there's also financials that have to be put in by whoever wants to appeal it. But otherwise, you'll be good to go in a week if there's no one who appeals it. So good luck with your project.
Can I approach? assuming that it gets approved, that'd be great, but if there are appeals, do we try to do like a different variance for like a smaller one, or?
No, so it would be the same, they would be appealing the decision we made. So we would go to the city council as presented. I'm correct on that?
Yeah.
Yes. And so then they would have the potential of overriding our decision.
So no deck, period. Is that, sorry?
No, they would be up to they would have a discussion like we just had. They would host a public hearing just like we did. And then they would make the final decision. That's the only time that someone can overturn our decision is if someone appeals to the city council.
And y'all didn't get any objections from anybody?
No, I think the risk is very
Right.
low here, but
I-
this is
I
a
wouldn't
conditional
worry about
approval.
that.
Yeah.
So wait 1 week to do anything?
One, and there's some conditions with the resolution, some watershed requirements, and we'll circle back with you tomorrow and let you know, here's the steps. But the risk of an appeal on this is so low, I would
Would that be
eat
like
a
a
hat.
public person appealing?
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
somebody saying, I don't want this deck, and appealing to the city council.
Theoretically, if we denied you tonight, you could appeal to the city council to overrule us and have them pass it. Thinking of it that way.
Sure.
But
Thank
right
you.
now, you're good.
Thanks
Yeah.
for the clarity. Okay, thank
You
you.
know, but I have to add that boilerplate at the end, just because occasionally stuff gets appealed. It's fairly rare,
Okay.
but there is a
You're
process.
excited we're gonna go to Menards tonight, but we'll wait. We have a babysitter, so we're like, we're going.
It's just gonna make the house so much safer getting to the house, and, cause they got the pavers and the ground is uneven and it's just a mess. With a deck, it'll be easier, people wanna come over and visit, the baby can get up, to go from the sidewalk up to the deck, and it's just gonna be a safer situation.
Perfect. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
We'll move to item 7B. It's a public hearing. For an interim use permit for 955 Broadway Avenue West, Lavender, Dahlia?
Dahlia.
Dahlia?
You gotta read it this
I always struggle with those multiple letters like that. LLC. It's a recommendation to council. Vowels, that's what it was. And there's multiple vowels. Wow, I should have gotten a nap today. Michael, are you up?
Yes, I am. Good evening again. Before you tonight is a request for an interim use permit for cannabis retail sales at 955 Broadway Avenue West. The applicant has submitted the application on behalf of the owner of the property at that location. This property is in our B2 business zoning district, and the applicant is requesting an interim use permit for cannabis retail sales and a corresponding site plan review. Interim use permits are subject to a public hearing, which will be tonight, and a recommendation from the Planning Commission. Final decisions are made by the City Council. Just a quick reminder on what an IUP is and why we're using it for this application. Unlike a conditional use permit, an interim use permit is temporary. It expires after a set period of time. We utilize this process for projects that are subject to new regulations and where laws are likely to evolve over time. In this case, we're using them for anything related to cannabis, as it is a relatively new thing to the state of Minnesota. I do want to note here that our city code allows a maximum of 3 cannabis retail sales licenses to be issued. This is different from interim use permits. The IUP application is one step on that process of obtaining the city's license and registration. We have previously approved 3 IUPs for cannabis retail sales. At this time, only one of those applicants has completed the process and is open for business. So 2 licenses remain available. As part of our staff memo, it's included that the applicant has been made aware that receiving an IUP does not automatically guarantee that they will receive a license. It's essentially first come, first serve. So the applicant is proposing to utilize an existing 4,100 square foot building, which was previously approved as a car wash and retail space. The applicant is proposing minor amendments to the parking area of the site, including the removal of an existing drive-through canopy and the addition of additional parking spaces. There are no major proposed changes to landscaping or signage locations. The applicant is proposing retail cannabis sales only. They are not proposing growing, manufacturing, or wholesaling at this location. They would be subject to standards for hours of operation for cannabis retail sales, and as proposed are meeting all other B2 zoning district requirements. Staff received comments from other city departments and stakeholders. Both our city engineer and building staff noted that additional information will need to be shown at time of building permit, and that demolition permits will need to be obtained for removal of the drive-through canopy. Our fire department reviewed and indicated no comments or concerns. Our police department checked and verified with staff that the property is not encroaching into required buffer for parks, schools, or daycare facilities. Note that the map that we have that we use for these does show in purple that there is a minor overlap on this property. We have confirmed that that facility does not actually provide any family or childcare services at that location. So this is essentially a map error. Our PD also reviewed the security plan submitted and have no additional concerns at this time. We also received review comments from the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District indicating that a permit would not be required as this is presented, but noting that if there are any additional changes, that a sediment and erosion control permit may be required. We have also, as zoning staff, have indicated that the applicant will need to provide additional odor control signage and landscaping plans at time of building permit. We evaluated this request against the city's interim use permit criteria, including any impacts on health, safety, general welfare, anticipated traffic conditions, public utilities, property values, the comprehensive plan, and we found that it does meet the request, the criteria in City Code Section 153.035. As a result, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission make a recommendation of approval of the interim use permit for cannabis retail sales to the City Council, subject to conditions included in the staff memo. We do have a representative of the applicant here tonight to answer any questions, and staff is also here to answer any questions.
Questions just for staff?
So they're tearing out the guts of the car wash and, okay.
I have a question for staff. Given that it's an interim permit, and you check all these buffers, and there's no family or childcare facility inside that 500-foot buffer, but someone starts one up after this has been issued, and then it comes due in what, 3 years, 3 or 5 years?
We're proposing 5 years.
5 years, and then they have to reapply at 5 years. Do you ignore the fact that that facility open nearby? Do they have to move? It seems like 500 feet would still be important.
I think that would be one of the considerations in the site plan process for that daycare center. We would probably
Okay.
not approve it because it
Not
is so
approve
close
the
to it.
daycare
Yeah,
center to allow it to
because
be
that,
there.
or
That kind of limits
yeah.
perhaps other development around there.
and that's really the case, but that's also a conversation to be had with our city attorney. This is all brand new
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot of case law requiring coming to the nuisance.
Okay.
That there's not a lot of rights to be able to complain if a use was already existed and you came to it.
Okay, even if it's an interim. permit,
Yeah, and so I
that's-
think that's where we get into like, hey, where is Amanda, our city attorney, to have these
Yeah.
big conversations? But as we're concerned, that would be a part of our approval for the childcare facility.
Other questions? Go ahead, Andy.
There's a lot of parking there. Does that implicate a lot of traffic coming through?
This is, the amount of parking that they are providing is significantly over what is required for a retail site. As part of our site plan review, we also note that some of that parking is not meeting our minimum standards, particularly for landscaping. So I'd expect to see some of those parking spaces go out. But even if they were using the existing parking spaces that are there, they would already be over the required retail space requirements in the code.
Looking at a little bit of just, there's already so much traffic on Broadway of, if we have another 50 cars an hour coming through this, is that going to be an issue? But I'm hearing probably no.
Not to my understanding, and we do now have a good example of traffic generation from a retail sales, now that we have one in the city. Different zoning district, but we have not seen significant impacts from that so far.
Is there, with this large of a parking lot, is there any provision from the security plan to ensure that people are not recreationally using what they just bought in the parking lot?
The
Unlike other
security-
ones where it was public properties, you know, I think one of the other ones we had when I first got on, it was public parking, so, you know, it fell onto someone else's shoulders. But in this case, if they own the parking, are they also responsible to make sure there's not consumption?
I believe that's a standard legal requirement, but we can look into that and definitely add that if necessary as a condition before city council.
Other questions? The applicant is here.
Yes.
Would you like to come up, state your name and address for the record, please, and then spend a couple of minutes giving us your thoughts on the business, and we may have a few questions for you.
Yeah, not a problem. Good evening, how are you? My name's Brian Gould. I'm the principal architect for BR Design and Architecture, based in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. I'm here to represent my client, Lavender, Dahlia, for this location. I was able to obviously spend some time looking over this staff report. Everything, you know, looked good in my opinion on what you guys were looking at for some of the issues that were kind of brought up first off, right off the bat. In regards to the IUP and the requirements, if you look at, it shows I and J, while staff has added conditions for approval that the IUP can be terminated under certain conditions, my client has asked that if we could also add some language in there that at the end of 5 years, we can apply for a CUP. The reasoning for that is mostly because under state law, cannabis dispensaries have to have a minimum of a 10-year lease. So the hope is at the end of that 5 years, you know, we would like to obviously apply right for a CUP so that we don't have to reapply for another IUP. Now, we understand the reasoning for the IUP in this condition. It's new here. So those 5 years obviously gives the time to kind of get rid of some of the wrinkles and figure out what's going on and make sure that the client or the, you know, the owner is doing all the right things and business is running properly. There's no violations or issues. But the hope is just on record to state that at the end of that 5 years, hopefully we can file for that CUP. So that it just gives them a little sense of security moving on for the remaining portion of their lease and beyond. So, but everything else, you know, in the staff report that I did see, you know, did look positive. And, you know, if there's any questions you have for the site, since I am the architect of record for this project, I can happily answer anything.
I can tell you that we've had IUPs in the past that end date has come and they've been renewed for the same period again. So I would think that this is really going to depend on what the state does in the next 5 years
Okay.
to change stuff that
Sure.
it's way out of our hands, you know. I have one question for you. Is Lavender, Dahlia, is that a chain? You're coming up out of Chicago, which strikes
So
me as odd that.
So I do a lot of dispensary work in the city of Chicago and for them as well in the Chicago area. So this will be one of their facilities here that they're you know, eager to open and continue on with further locations as well. So
Although it's
They're
not,
not a local owner.
I'm sorry.
They're not a local owner.
No, they're based out of Phoenix.
so in Minnesota, we don't require the double door entrance like Illinois does. So does this have a we don't have an internal plans that, you know, you usually come in the first door,
Oh,
you
I'm
check your
sorry.
ID, and then the second door?
Yeah, so we are currently working on the floor plans now. So I was actually just here about 3 weeks ago and went to the facility and started working on some of these projects. So it'll be an open lobby concept. So you will come in a set of double doors. you will be checked in, you'll have to go through security, show your ID, show all that information, and then you're able to go right onto the floor. There is no product that's allowed to be kept on the floor, so it's for Minnesota. It's different, and different states have many different rules. Chicago's pretty interesting. But, so here in Minnesota, though, there's no product on the sales floor. And then when you place that order, it gets put to the back window, so to speak, and then there's a vault back there that the product's in, and that gets passed back to the sales floor, and then you're checked out. So nothing is kept on the sales floor. Chicago's a little different, you know, everything gets put back into a vault, but it's brought onto the sales floor during the daytime sales hours, so.
Questions of the applicant?
Do you have any comment on the security of the parking lot and anything?
No, all I can say is, you know, I obviously do this multiple states. There's never been any issues. There's kind of a stigma when it comes to some of these locations, but in Chicago, we have one that's, you know, Starbucks is next door, you know, there's a law firm next to that. You know, so there's usually never any issues. There's security there. So, and then I know you did bring up, Andy, a comment about, you know, using in the parking lot, et cetera. You know, it's one of those things, it's almost like a restaurant or a bar. You know, you also could bring a product out and drink in the parking lot, or take that to go if you leave a convenience store to buy beer. So that's always an area that you never know, you know, what can happen, but we've never had an issue with you know, people lingering or staying in the parking lot, which also is kind of the same deal with traffic. We've had these facilities go in very dense populated areas. The parking requirements are 12 spots in some of these facilities. It's kind of amazing how it's kind of just you go in, you come out, you leave, and it's quick. The traffic studies are done a lot of times in some different locations, and it's how it factors in and the use. There's very minimal traffic demands that get placed on existing intersections. A lot less than restaurants and other uses.
Any other questions or concerns for the applicant? We may have some after the public hearing.
Sure.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a public hearing. We ask if anyone wishes to speak to this application, please step up, state your name and address for the record. Once we have heard from all applicants, we will bring it back to the planning, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the planning commission for a recommendation to the city council. They will be the final decision on this. So we'll open the public hearing at 6:37 PM. Does anyone wish to speak to this application? Do we have anything that needs to be read in? Any comments or concerns?
We have not received any.
Thank you very much. I'll ask one more time. Does anyone wish to speak to this application? Seeing no one come forward, we will close the public hearing at 6:38. Commissioners, discussion, comments, concern? Recommend motions, and by the way, that's on page 34 with 14 recommendations.
Susan's first.
Oh, Susan?
Michael, you said the IUPs are congruent to CUPs. With a CUP, if we have issues with the conditions, we can remove the CUP and revoke it. Is that congruent for an IUP?
Yeah, same thing, and there is a condition, but it's also just part of IUPs in general. If they fail to meet any of the conditions or requirements of the code, it is deemed a public nuisance and can ultimately be revoked.
And my other thought is I understand why they would want to include in their approval, yeah, we can do a CUP later. The city has long-range plans for Broadway redevelopment. And could you give me your thoughts on essentially what could be considered by a future attorney in 4.5 years to be a commitment by the city that they would have a CUP, and how that would affect your thoughts and the city's development thoughts about the redevelopment of Broadway?
I would love to have the city attorney here. Broadly, just broadly speaking about cannabis retail sales in general, there does seem to be a certain amount of friction between the state law requiring a 10-year license or a 10-year lease and our 5-year renewal process. But our existing IUP process was put in place specifically because of how new this is. And I think there's a lot of interesting questions that have come up in the last year regarding how cannabis retail sales is operating in Minnesota. And I don't know if we're ready to make a commitment to switching it to a CUP at this time. And we'll kind of need to see where we're at in 5 years.
I'd be really reluctant if the motion was made to include a guarantee of a CUP.
I'm with you on that, Susan. The IUP is
Enough.
Thank you.
no problems. They get a renewal of it in 5 years, like we've done. We had the church down right on 8th there, and
Yep.
had no problem. I think that's the only one that I can recall that we've renewed an IUP. Because it's fairly new for us to have IUPs, 5, 6, 7 years maybe.
We had that one out in Broadway, the ag land, for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Andy, you had a comment?
I am a little concerned that it is someone that is not living anywhere near here that's gonna be managing this, or owning this, so, I am not in favor of this. Especially if we talk about they're gonna be there for 10 years. To me, I don't think that's what this city is, the people of this city are set up for.
Fair point.
Other comments, concerns? Hearing none, the chair is looking for a motion. And remember, this will be for a recommendation to the city council. Hearing none, I'll make a motion. Recommendation of approval to the city council of the IUP request based on conformance with applicable code requirements and criteria for an interim use permit to the city subject to the 14 conditions as written out by staff. That's my motion. Do I have a
I'll second that
second?
motion for discussion.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Motion carries 6-1. This will go before the city council
The 24th? August 24th.
August 24th. All right. Thank you for coming tonight. Good luck with your project.
Thank you,
Item 7C is a site plan review for 108 12th Street Southwest for Clean Freak Car Wash. This is a decision by us. Before you start, whoever's presenting, I find it ironic that we closed one car wash and now we want to open another one. I don't think you could have timed that better.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
So who is presenting?
That is also me. Tonight, the last presentation you'll see from me is a site plan review for Clean Freak Car Wash. This property is located at 108 12th Street Southwest. This is associated with the gas station directly to the north. The property is zoned B2, which permits car washes permitted by right. Proposed modifications to the site are what are triggering the site plan review tonight. Site plan reviews are subject to final decision by the Planning Commission. So tonight we are requesting your final decision. And these are not subject to a public hearing. The submitted site plan is proposing to remove the existing building on the property, and then in its place proposed a 4,763 square foot car wash, including revised access to the site, including removing the existing direct access to 12th Street, introducing a biofiltration basin, trash enclosures, landscaping, signage, as well as vacuum spaces. The plan does not propose any standard parking spaces. This is one concern that we have for the property. Our code does not specify parking requirements for car washes in the city code. The code thus allows us to determine it based off square footage of the building, proposed use, number of employees. Staff considered the anticipated demand and the possible employee spaces. We are, as a result, recommending a condition that at time of building permit, the applicant either revise the plan to provide sufficient parking spaces for employees, or to provide a joint parking facility agreement with the gas station if that is what they are proposing. The applicant is also proposing new wall signage and monument sign. As proposed, the signage is not meeting city code standards. Similarly, we have prepared a condition of approval requiring that the signage be revised to meet code standards at the time of sign permitting. The architectural treatments themselves are in line with code requirements for the B2 zoning district. Staff evaluated the request against the city's site plan review criteria. Notably, car washes are consistent with both the comp plan and the zoning ordinances for the B2 zoning district, and the proposed site improvements are consistent with the city's ordinances for the B2 as well. We note that the site is already significantly developed and proposed improvements, and that there are already improved services in the area. The applicant is proposing landscaping and stormwater areas that would ultimately be bringing the site into greater compliance and conformance with the code. The site plan is consistent with city requirements for building placement and architectural design, and proposed improvements. Vehicular circulation and access would be addressed through recommended conditions of approval. We also do not expect neighboring properties to be adversely affected by the proposed site improvements. As a result, staff is recommending approval of Resolution 08-12-2602, subject to conditions of approval, authorizing the site plan for the proposed Clean Freak car wash. We do have a representative for the applicant here tonight, or if you have any questions for staff, we're here.
Susan?
So Michael, the only access will be from the Holiday Station off of Broadway? You said there won't be any access on 12th.
The access from 12th would be removed. There's that right-of-way easement running, connects to like the McDonald's and the Walmart. That would be where the access would be from.
Yeah, it's on that little, it's not really a road, but it's a road next to the Holiday. You can get you into McDonald's or, yeah.
Connects to like the Chase Bank, the Holiday gas
Yeah,
station.
but it's not a real road, right?
It is a easement into the parking lot. It's not a named road.
So who owns that road? Is that the Holiday?
My understanding is it's either the McDonald's or the Walmart owner. And we do have a condition, I believe, requiring them to provide like an access agreement.
Susan?
That's one of the positives, that they're not taking water out onto 12th that close to the intersection and creating a mell of a hess in the wintertime.
Is that a formal term, Susan?
Yes,
Okay.
it is my attempt to stay reasonably polite.
Other questions, staff? Applicant, I believe, is here. No? Yes? Come up, state your name and address for the record, and give us a couple minutes on your thoughts of it, how the application looks so far, concerns you may have.
Yeah, Joe Schramm with Westwood Professional Services, 12701 Whitewater Drive, Minnetonka. I guess I have no further comments, I guess, on what was provided. We reviewed all the city's comments from the first round of reviews. Seem pretty standard, but yeah, looking forward to pushing this out.
And my name is Tom Carrico. I'm with Circle K, and my address is 6,000 Whitewater Drive, Minnetonka.
And you guys can get your signage, I mean, everyone wants a lot of signs. You can get your signs down to what you need to?
I believe so. I mean, we're still kind of reviewing what the staff sent and reviewing it internally, so, yes.
Because I think you have two issues. You got too much signage, and then your other one is the one is too tall. It's 22 feet, it can only be 18 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there I mean, you can only have so many, except in Forest Lake, so many pizza places in one community. We have a lot of car washes. Where does that saturation level hit? I mean, there's one about, what, 300 feet away?
Correct, right? So, you know, Circle K, or Holiday, which is now Circle K, purchased that land for the purposes of car wash. We operate car washes all over the Twin Cities, except for this location of one of many, right? And so we're wanting to offer that car wash. Circle K purchased Clean Freak a number of years ago, and so Clean Freak is a subsidiary of Circle K, and so it makes sense to put a Clean Freak as opposed to a car wash. I can go into all the tunnel links and everything else, but it's getting late, and I don't want to bore everybody. So typically a car wash is 60 foot on a tunnel. This one I think is 120, which allows for the winter months, because I heard your comment as it relates to ice buildup. We take that seriously in that we have a drying station within the car wash so that the water hopefully gets evaporated at that point as opposed to driving out. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Other questions of the applicant?
Now, is this a drive-through car wash, like the standard one, or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a drive-through car wash. Yep.
Exterior of the building, is it just concrete block? Is that what it looks like? Or is there any metal panel? What's the exterior look like on Main Street?
I'll let you take that one. I believe it's block.
Yeah, I guess I haven't looked at the architectural drawings as much, but I can't comment on the materials.
Because that's the east view, correct? That's the front, what we'll see from
12th.
12th.
It's a painted, it doesn't look like a block building, if you will. It's a nice building. We just opened one up in Brooklyn Park a couple months ago.
And you're okay with the parking issue, resolving that you're going to be able to park?
Yeah, we take that into account when we're with the vacuum stalls and the employees parking as well. We are fortunate enough that we do have the Circle K across the street that we could potentially use, but we take that very seriously as far as parking. We're going to make sure that the employees have a place to park as well as there's enough parking stalls for people to vacuum their cars.
And my last question would be, do you happen to know who owns the the easement in between these two
I
facilities?
think it's McDonald's.
It's McDonald's.
So we had to go to McDonald's to get an easement, so I'm thinking it's them, but I haven't reviewed those ones.
It's idle curiosity for me that it's never been really a street.
Yeah,
But-
I'm pretty sure it's McDonald's, but we'll let everybody know, so, because we do have that in place, so,
Okay. Other concerns?
It is
comments?
the McDonald's Corp.
yeah.
that owns that easement. It's part of their whole parcel.
Oh, okay. Andy?
My computer froze, so I can't find the exact slide, but as cars come into the tunnel, there's the little outbound thing. Is that required? It seems kind of,
We put it there because if you're in line and it's taking too long and you realize you have to be somewhere, you don't have to wait for everybody to go. You can get out of line. Emergency exit almost.
sure.
Bailout, like, is the.
So can you pop up the site plan?
Yeah, do you have the same?
There we go.
Yeah.
This is what you're,
Yep, to the top right there, right
Yeah,
corner
because
there.
of the queuing that takes place, once you're in that line,
You're stuck.
if something happens, or car breaks down or in front or something along those lines, we can get you out.
so once you're in the queue, you're in the queue.
Correct, until you get to that breakout line.
Till you get to the escape hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, by then you've already
Yeah,
suffered.
you're committed.
You've already paid at that point as well, right?
You've already paid. You gotta love capitalism. Other comments, concerns?
For staff, for runoff, does this comply with what we're looking for?
Yes, I believe there are some changes that need to be made per the engineering memo we received. There's a condition that it'll need to be in compliance before the building permit, but it's certainly better than what is there now, and is largely in conformance with some minor tweaks.
We good? Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, this is a recommendation. It's
The
been-
decision.
This is
It's
a decision.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is a decision. I don't know where, okay. So whoever makes the motion, there is a amendment that we would like regarding employee parking?
That's already included as a condition. They'll need to either revise the parking spaces to provide for employee parking or provide a shared, like, joint parking agreement.
You know which recommendation that is? Don't I have it? Oh, yeah, okay, number 7.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the site plan with the 14 conditions that are contained in the resolution.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? I ask one more time, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Good luck on your project.
Thank you very much.
All right, we move to item 7D. It's a final plat, Hidden Creek, 4th edition, PIN 30.032.21.24.0010, Headwaters Land Group, and it's a recommendation to council. Well, if,
Me, this one's me.
well, Michael said he was done, so I assume it was you.
Happily done.
Yes, I think he deserves a lot of credit tonight. He did a lot of the heavy lifting. Wait for this to load up. All right. Good evening, Chair Gerard. It's nice to finally be able to talk. For your consideration tonight is the final plat for Hidden Creek, 4th edition. To keep the name from becoming a mouthful, I'm going to refer to Hidden Creek 4th edition as HC4 throughout the presentation. And I think you all know I love acronyms. As a reminder, the commission is not taking the city's final action tonight. Your role is to review the final plat and make a recommendation to the city council. The council is currently scheduled to consider final approval on August 24th. HC4 is the 4th and final edition within the larger Hidden Creek development and includes the last 18 lots at the south end of Ely Avenue, just north of Headwaters Parkway. I'll start with how these 18 lots fit into the full 125 lot development, then separate the HC4 specific statistics from the overall project statistics. After that, I'll cover consistency with the prior approvals, the temporary construction access, the unfinished work carried forward from earlier additions, and the conditions staff is recommending. The easiest way to understand the history, despite what may be the most complicated slide I've ever put together, is that Hidden Creek has always been one approved 125 lot PUD. What changed over time is how the developer divided up the construction phases and final plats. Before I get into the phasing history, I want to ground the overall development in the city's land use and zoning framework. The property is guided low, medium density residential and is zoned MXR1, which by now we're all familiar, especially with development in this area of the city, is mixed single-family residential, and it has a PUD overlay. At full build-out, Hidden Creek is 125 lots on approximately 40.88 developable acres, or about 3.06 units per developable acre. That is within the comprehensive plan guidance of 3 to 6 units per developable acre. At the overall development level, the proposed use and density fit the city's land use framework. The table comes directly from the staff report. It compares the underlying MXR1 zoning standards with the broader Headwaters PUD and the controlling Hidden Creek PUD. standards approved in 2023. The blue cells identify the approved Hidden Creek flexibilities from the underlying zoning requirements. A 7,000 square foot minimum lot area instead of 7,500 square feet, a 65-foot average underlined lot with an average side setback of 7.5 feet with at least 15 feet maintained between homes, and a 20-foot corner setback instead of 25 feet. The 25-foot front and 30-foot rear setbacks remain unchanged from the zoning requirements. The final PUD also separately approved 30-foot back-to-back internal streets, approximately 4 feet narrower than the city standard 34-foot back-to-back roadway width. The overall development remains within all those approved standards and flexibilities. The subsequent final plat boundaries did not follow those colored phase boundaries exactly. The second edition included 37 lots, with the 6 lots identified by the blue circles moved into the next edition. The third edition then included 48 lots, those 6 lots plus 42 of the originally shown in blue, leaving the final 18 lots for HC4, which I identified with a red arrow. This change from 3 construction phases to 4 final plat additions did not require a PUD amendment because the approved 125 lot layout, land use, circulation pattern, and PUD standards remained unchanged. The later final plats and development agreements simply documented the revised implementation sequence. In other words, the development itself did not change, only the timing and division of the final plats changed. The important carry forward item is the South Biofiltration Basin, which I've identified with the black box. The 2023 development agreement assigned the grading to phase 2, consistent with this phasing exhibit. The second edition agreement required that work to be completed by the end of 2024, and a third edition agreement carried the obligation forward again. Because the basin and related storm sewer improvements remain incomplete, staff has proposed a condition that requires that work to be completed before the city issues building permits for HC4. With that overall context, this slide just zooms in on what HC4 itself is proposing. This is the 4th and final edition. It creates the remaining 18 detached single-family lots on about 4.5 developable acres, which is approximately 3.99 units per acre. That phase level density is also within the comprehensive plan's 3 to 6 unit range. The plat extends Ely Avenue south through the temporary turnaround that was constructed with HC3. That area is identified with a black circle. Because that earlier turnaround is being replaced, the existing easement is being addressed through a separate city council easement vacation action with a public hearing on the subject at the August 24th council meeting. At the new south end of Ely Avenue, HC4 creates another temporary cul-de-sac. Staff is requiring a permanent 100-foot diameter easement around it. Permanent sounds a little unusual for a temporary turnaround, but the point is to preserve enough legal area for vehicle turning, snow storage, grading, drainage, and city maintenance until the future connection is approved and constructed. HC4 also extends public water, sanitary sewers, stormwater, and the public street to serve these lots. It carries the remaining development-wide drainage, trail, and park grading work as conditions of approval. I'll cover the timing and approval gates for that infrastructure on the next slides. For the commission's review, this is a final plat under City Code Section 152.084. Staff's conclusion is that the plat contains the remaining lots shown in the approved plan and can be approved subject to the recommended conditions, agreements, financial security, permits, and engineering revisions. Park dedication has been handled differently with each edition, so I want to briefly walk through the history and explain what is recommended for HC4. At the 2022 preliminary plat stage, the plan showed about 2.78 acres for a neighborhood park along the south side of Hidden Creek, with the remaining dedication expected as cash. The approval also anticipated that future development to the south would provide adjoining parkland, allowing this to become a larger connected park. When the first edition and final PUD were approved in 2023, the grading was refined and the park increased to approximately 3.18 acres south of the stormwater pond. The pond's maintenance bench also accommodates a trail connection from the neighborhood trail system to the park. The later additions satisfied their obligations through cash payments, $92,500 for the 37-lot second edition and $120,000 for the 48-lot third edition. For HC4, staff is recommending $45,000 based on 18 lots at $2,500 per lot, which is the current fee according to the 2026 fee schedule. Even though land was dedicated with the first edition, each final plat creates additional park and trail demand. Cash is more appropriate for HC4 because the neighborhood park site has already been identified and another small parcel within HC4 is not needed. This slide summarizes the several conditions staff is recommending related to infrastructure and construction sequencing. Staff recommends the infrastructure needed to serve HC4 and complete the overall Hidden Creek development be constructed before homes are built, while allowing the final wear course and other defined closeout work to occur later. The applicant has expressed concerns about the proposed temporary access requirement and the requirement to complete the stormwater improvements identified in the conditions before building permits are issued. Staff understands these concerns but continues to recommend both conditions. The temporary access shown by the black line on the map would provide a direct construction route from Headwaters Parkway. By the time HC4 construction begins, the city may have accepted the streets serving the previous additions, and using those streets for construction traffic could damage completed public improvements. More importantly, construction vehicles would otherwise travel through nearly the entire existing neighborhood on the narrower PUD streets, passing occupied homes and areas used by residents and children. Staff believes the temporary access would provide a safer and more appropriate route for construction traffic and material deliveries. It could also serve construction on the remaining lots in the third addition, further reducing construction traffic and related safety risks within the occupied neighborhood. Staff also recommends completing the south biofiltration basin, shown by the blue box, along with the related storm sewer and trail improvements before issuing HC4 building permits. The city generally requires necessary infrastructure to be constructed before homes are built. The city has allowed some flexibility as Hidden Creek developed in phases, but HC4 is the final addition. Allowing homes to be built first could limit access to the remaining work areas or place homes, driveways, and residential activity in the way of completing these required improvements. Staff is also recommending that all required but incomplete work carried forward from the previous additions to be completed as part of HC4. The city engineer and public works director would identify the remaining work and associated costs, which would be included in the financial security required for HC4. This ensures that the city retains sufficient security to complete all outstanding development obligations if necessary. The overall intent is to complete the remaining major infrastructure work before additional homes and residents make that work more difficult or disruptive. The final wear course and other secured closeout items may still be completed later. The recommended conditions establish the approval requirements for HC4, and all 15 are summarized on this slide. I apologize for those that don't have their bifocals on. Conditions 1 through 3 address plans and permits. The applicant must revise the plans to incorporate the city engineer's comments, receive approval from the city engineer, public works director, and fire chief, and obtain all required permits. This includes confirming that Rice Creek Watershed District Permit 24-019 remains active or is amended as needed. Conditions 4 through 6 provide the city's contractual and financial protections. The applicant must execute and provide the development agreement, and record the development agreement, provide financial security equal to at least 125% of all incomplete work, and pay all required fees and city invoices. Conditions 7 through 10 address the required easements, vacation of the HC3 temporary easement, correction of the HC2 plat, recording the final plat and development agreement within 120 days unless extended by the council, and payment of the $45,000 cash park dedication. Conditions 11 through 14 govern construction and closeout. These include the pre-construction meeting and written authorization, the required temporary construction access, completion of the basin, storm sewer and trail improvements before HC4 building permits, and completion of all required grading, restoration, testing, televising, record plans, and corrections. Condition 15 confirms that all previously required but incomplete work from the earlier Hidden Creek additions remains enforceable unless expressly modified. The outstanding cost for these work will also be included in the financial security required for HC4. As discussed, the city received parkland with the first addition. For the 18 additional HC4 homes, staff recommends a $45,000 cash contribution rather than additional land. That amount is based on the 2026 guideline of $2,500 per lot, and staff's individualized nexus and proportionality analysis under City Code sections 152.090 and 152.092. The City Council will ultimately establish the amount. Staff finds the HC4 conforms to the applicable plans and standards in that none of the denial criteria in the City Code section 152.084D are present, provided the recommended conditions are satisfied. Staff's recommendation to this commission is to recommend that the City Council approve Hidden Creek 4th Edition final plat based on the findings and subject to the 15 conditions as may be amended by this body tonight. With that, the applicant is here if you have any questions for him, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions to staff? Susan?
It was my understanding that the ending of this would have a connection on the south side of Ely to Headwaters Parkway, like permanent. Otherwise, what you've got is 125 units in a meandering path, one entrance, one exit on a substandard road.
And I think this is the one thing that we have to keep in mind is this would be a temporary potential cul-de-sac.
No, what I'm saying is, my understanding was there would be permanent access on the south end of Ely, so that you didn't
To the
have
property line?
only one entrance to 125 homes on a substandard road with small lots that are guaranteed to have on-street parking.
Well, there is the other entrance up north through Ely to the neighborhood to the north that would provide additional, really temporary access for now. There would be the additional entrance when the property to the south of this property is developed, which the preliminary plat will be coming to you in 2 weeks.
And are they coming directly off of Headwaters?
Yes.
And this is not a new thing for me to worry about the number of homes, especially on a substandard road that doesn't have direct access, that is winding for emergency purposes. With the PUD, we've got smaller lots, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have on-street parking. So I'm concerned about the safety of the residents in these homes.
And I think.
And one more thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
As you give me your response, a PUD grants extraordinary substandard roads, small lots, flexibility to the developer in return for significant above normal benefit to the city. And yes, they're doing parkland, that is normal benefit. So I don't consider the parkland and the distribution to be above normal, which was why it was okay for me thinking that we were going to have the permanent southern access on Ely. That to me was the above and beyond benefit.
And I think you have a very real concern with the public benefit of this. That the public benefit that has been described for me, this is the fourth of all four phases, and I think being able to include that as potential comment to the city council to be able to address that or ask the applicant who's here, it would be a fine question. The public benefit that exists of this is the extension of the utilities, the infrastructure, the parkland, as well as the connection to the trail. And I recognize that that is what would be required of this, and I think it's a very real concern that comes out to the access question. I think the consideration that we have is that Outlot A is additional parkland, and bisecting that park with a road, it is not supported by our Public Works Director or our Parks and Recreation Director. What I have up is the existing, kind of like giving you that full scope. What you see on that south is the current preliminary plat. I think there's an update. There's an additional lot that's been found related to this development that kind of shows that here's some of the access. That's Headwaters Parkway running north-south. I apologize. It's underneath that text box for Outlot A. But that would be connected through that street B2. Would be the additional access, and going back to the full.
But B2, does that connect directly to the parkway?
Yes, B2, that's the parkway where you see that T and you can't see if you go over 2T Street E2, that next intersection is Headwaters Parkway. The Hidden Creek South development that is being shown here is on the east and west side of Headwaters Parkway.
That's the next development, right?
Here, I'll put the laser pointer. This is the connection to Headwaters Parkway.
And that will be constructed as part of this?
It would be constructed as a part of this development here, Hidden Creek South. So I know there's a lot of hidden creeks over here. So Hidden Creek is this big development up here. I'm just showing, the point of this was to show that the park dedication was being expanded on to the south with the next development.
Thank you.
So, Susan, would you educate, where's Ely?
Ely is that north-south road that they're putting, that the houses in this
These
fourth
18
edition
homes.
are on.
It's Street D2 here, labeled on this map in front of you. That's the southern connection. So that right next to the west of that, where you see the green 3.18 acres,
Yep.
that in red is the Hidden Creek Fourth.
Right,
So
and
it's-
so there isn't anything until someday, maybe possibly, when that southern area, and we just have a lot of houses.
Yeah, this is Ely,
Yeah.
Chair.
All right, thank you for. Other questions for staff? Andy?
Just so, I'm a little confused on the park. The original phase one was required to have 3.18?
It was, I believe it was less than that. The discussions were, how it came out was it was approved at 3.18.
But some of that, the reality after construction, went to stormwater, if you can go back to that other slide. Is that what I'm reading? Or is that bottom box there for the future?
That bottom box is showing you that, hey, this is Hidden Creek South. The parkland dedication associated with that will be more or less connected to, while separate legally, and through our decision, it just shows that, hey, this will probably be a 5-acre park right
So
here.
the bottom of that has nothing to do with this?
No, it's
current-
just
okay. That's where I was getting
demonstrating-
it was kind of confusing there.
My apologies.
No, that's okay, just wanted to be clear.
Other questions of staff? And then the park board had approved their parkland early on, so they're fine with the cash dedication?
Yeah.
My second question is, in page 84, you talk about average width and average side setback. I know it's a PUD and we've had some 65 and some smaller width. I don't recall ever being willing to have less than 7.5-foot side setbacks. Where is that, where we're using an average?
That was part of the approval for the PUD, and I recognize the incredible uniqueness of that. And, but that was a part of the PUD that was approved in 2023.
And do we have parcels that are gonna be less, on average, less than 15 feet between buildings?
I can't say no. I would assume there would be, and the current lot width, just using that as a example, the current lot widths range from about 44 feet to about 120, I think, 8. But the overall average is 70, so it's meeting the intent of the PUD requirements.
From the building permits I've reviewed, at least since I've been here, we require a minimum 15. So at least all the ones I've reviewed have had a 7.5-foot setback. But if it had less than that, then there would need to be an increased side setback on the adjacent property so that there's at least 15 feet between both homes.
Until they come in here for a variance. All right, any other questions of staff? Andy?
Yep, on the incomplete stuff to me, that's a little concerning that some of this stuff is years old. And the don't worry about it excuse, that to me says I should worry about it.
I absolutely, I think this is our last bite of the apple for this development, and I think the staff and all of the people that support feedback are looking at this as, we can't approve this until the previous things that haven't been done or have been delayed because of the potential impacts to some of the residences and grading and whatnot, that we need to make sure that those get done.
So would you prefer we table this then until they finish that stuff?
No, I think being able to approve this recommendation for approval with that caveat that we have, that if we have it as a condition, that it has to be addressed.
And we have that in there?
It's referenced, but is that enough teeth for you?
Referenced in,
It's referenced in, it's one of the conditions, but is it made in a condition with teeth that you can?
Oh, I think one of the things that is not included here is that we have to develop a development agreement that will have this spelled out in black and white, and that also has to go to the city council for approval.
With a very significant bond.
That is a potential, and so our city engineer and public works director are working to identify and itemize all the things that have not been completed or that have been kind of delayed to this phase to be able to accumulate what those things are. But the big issues are that bioretention pond being completed that's a critical thing, and our city engineer and Public Works Director are very much concerned that if that waits until after these homes are built, that it would make it much more difficult to not impact the people who have bought houses there when they're developing this stormwater pond in their backyard.
But don't we have the wear layer? We only have a base coat for the streets, right?
Yeah, the wear is forthcoming for at least the first 2 phases, perhaps the first 3, but that is on the way.
Because I would think the residents would really be concerned about having a road without the sewer sticking up 2 inches.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, are you comfortable doing an additional step with the city council to make sure that work gets done, or do we need to add, is there a way, spitballing, to put, denying certificate of occupancy on the homes until that stuff is done?
I think that would be a potential condition if it wasn't. Right now, the building permits would be upheld, so it won't even get to CO. That's would be up as we go through the development agreement process, spelling that out with the city attorney, with my boss, the community development director, city engineer, our city administrator, is making sure that everything is accounted for that needs to be addressed in this development to make it complete. So that's really where a lot of this work would be, as it has been for the previous 3 phases.
Now, how was it written in the previous development agreement?
Which ones?
To put the basin in and,
It was written as a requirement of 2, and that there were issues that came up, challenges that came up, that it was deferred to 3, and now now we're at 4, and it has to happen. I think flexibilities were provided for those phases, and because there was an extra phase, and now it's come time for the.
now, if they were able to skirt that, what's gonna stop them?
I think
from
they were able,
skirting this?
I wouldn't say they skirted. I think the city was being understanding of some of the challenges with developing here, and some of the kind of like with some of the phasing. I think that there's a lot of push to make sure that this happens, and because it is especially the stormwater apparatus that's there, the trails that are there, they have to happen really before these residents come in.
I believe we have the applicant here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Would you like to come up, state your name and address, maybe address some of these issues that we have?
Sure. Council members or planning commission members, my name is Paul Bruggeman. My address is 2555 County Road E, East White Bear Lake. Okay, first of all, the wear course is on. First, second, and third phase. Okay, so the final lift of asphalt's on. The culvert from 30 is done. 31 is completed. The infiltration basin, there's some confusion because we were told we couldn't do that until we were done with these lots, grading these lots of this last phase. So, and ironically, I was out of town. I didn't get back in town until Tuesday night. And we're under the understanding from Ryan Goodman, he didn't want us to finish that infiltration pond until we had these final lots graded out. So, and even if you guys said, you know what, we should do that, we would need till September of next year to get it completed because we'd need to go through the winter and do the construction, because right now there's a temporary pond there and it'd be virtually impossible to go in there. We make the attempt to try to get it done, but the only reason we haven't done that is this is my understanding, I didn't hear this from the horse's mouth, but Ryan told us to wait until we did the final grading on these last 18 lots, okay? So that is not completed. The bituminous trail 31, I believe that is also completed. I guess the stockpile, I don't know standing here, we do have a pile of dirt there, I don't know if that is on this site or not. I don't believe it is. I believe it's on a separate parcel that we own, so it's not on this 125-foot lots. I don't know, do either one of you guys know that for sure? I'm not 100% either, but I don't believe it's on the first 125 lots, if you will, okay? But we can deal with that, but, so 33 is done, 31 is done, and 30 is done. The only one that isn't done is 32, and that's because we were directed not to do it. And if we do, what I don't understand is why the city always has to put everything on building permits. You guys, you have a letter of credit of 125% of what the project is estimated to do. We put that money up on that if we don't do the work and complete it, you can come in and pull that and finish the job. I've been doing this my whole life. I've never had a city pull a letter of credit in my life. I've never not finished a project. So we got to clarify this infiltration basin on the miscommunication. And like I said, Ryan, as far as I know, is out of town. The other concern that I have is this construction road and not allowing our traffic, which is going to be pretty minimal, to get the product that they need to finish these 18 lots that you're going to expect me to build a construction road from Headwaters Parkway through that land over to this street. I don't, it's not even, I'm just objecting to it. Based on legal counsel, I'm just telling you we oppose doing that, okay? We're not gonna have any heavier or more traffic than in the construction trucks, the cement trucks, the dirt trucks, the lumber trucks, the sheetrock trucks that the people are using in there to build the home. So, in the roads built to the city standards, and we're gonna stay within the city's limit requirements on weight. So that shouldn't be an issue. I guess I'm not sure if that was the trade-off, I'm sorry, I don't recall on the park dedication or the park fee, but if that is something that John, my project managers, agreed to, that's what we'll do. Again, I don't understand the building permits. You guys do have letter of credits from us to do everything. We certainly didn't sidestep anything. We've got everything on this list done that I know of, other than that infiltration basin. So with that, I'm open to any questions you have.
Questions of the applicant?
I'm sorry, can I just add one more thing?
Absolutely.
So can you go back to that picture that shows our whole phase?
Yeah.
Just to show you that we're not sidestepping and we're not trying to not work with the city. We had a final plat that was completely approved, done, and 100% approved, right? The city came back to us and said, hey, you gotta put 144 feet of 53-inch by 43-inch concrete pipe out to this pond. It should have been done on the original plan, and we want you to do it, okay? 80 grand was our proposal, was our bid to get that done. We did it. On the back lot of the top three you see on the corner there, we had to regrade those lots because the city came to us and said, hey, you know what, we don't want the grading plan as it was submitted and approved, we want you to change it. $15,000, we did it. Okay, so we are working with the city of Forest Lake. Susan, I don't ever remember Ely going all the way to Headwaters Parkway before Headwaters Parkway was constructed. I do remember that you, staff, requested that we tie into, is it Enrich? Enrich, what's the road that goes north into that development?
Let me see.
It's Enfield.
Enfield, sorry. I do remember that when we did that phase, we had to make sure where the green is up on the upper right that we connected into infield. So I apologize if I don't recall that, but I don't ever remember Ely as part of this plat going down to Headwaters Parkway, because Headwaters Parkway stops where the yellow and the red is, on the lower right-hand corner. So Headwaters Parkway isn't even there to tie into. Does that make sense?
And that was the whole thing. Your other developments in the city have been so wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
I have huge concerns about having that many homes on a narrower road. I'm kind of surprised that Public Works are those narrower roads, are those going to be city streets, or that's your HOA?
They're 30 feet back to back of the curb, correct? Which in most cities is their standard road. You have 34 foot as your standard, which is unbelievably large, okay? But they are gonna be city streets, and when we do the south, as Steve mentioned, we're in for preliminary plat for the south 172 lots. Yet this month, is it?
It's 2 weeks?
2 weeks. So those streets are gonna be made larger. The other thing, this plat is no different than the plat that was done, I don't know, 2009 or something, to the east of us, and the development that was prior to us there. As far as I know, the lot sizes are very similar. And actually, some of those are smaller for the detached townhomes. So we just followed the horse that was in front of us. We didn't come in with anything different than was already approved way before I came involved in this development.
Other questions of the applicant?
I have one.
Andy?
It sounds like you are going to refuse to work with one of the conditions of the construction road?
I just don't understand why we would have to do that. And
I just want to be clear, you said under advice of legal counsel, you're objecting to that? And
we're
won't do it?
objecting to it. We're objecting to that,
Does that
yes.
mean that you will not follow that if it is a condition?
I don't know why it needs to be a condition. I mean, without my legal counsel here, I guess I'd prefer not to answer that question.
So,
Can I just finish my thought real quick?
Yeah, I'm
then-
sorry.
And then I'm done.
I apologize.
I think, to me, what staff has said and what you have said are not aligning, and I think we need more time to get everyone on the same page before we pass something.
I want to actually just clarify one thing, and I think Mr. Brueggemann's completely correct, that especially about the infiltration pond. Grading is not the issue. The city has no objection to them grading and doing the infiltration pond. The city's objection is building houses before the infiltration pond is built and withholding building permits before houses are built, before the infiltration pond is built and accepted by the city. That's the concern. But grading is not the issue at all. You can grade all you want. It's making sure that before you start building houses that we have that infiltration pond complete.
while I hear you that you have spent $23,000, quite frankly, the benefits of the PUD that you received are far in excess of that $23,000 that you just mentioned.
I don't know what 23,000.
8 and 13?
80,000 and 13,000. 80, not 80.
I believe he misspoke.
80.
I heard 8 too, but I knew,
Yeah, I was
recognized.
gonna say, I heard 8,
80,000.
so.
And then we also extended the pipe to the west of Ely Avenue as well, but that was, I believe that was our error, that wasn't completed.
So the construction road that you are requiring, what is the duration of that road from the city's perspective? How long will that be in place?
Till the phase is complete. It's
Till
temporary.
the construction of the homes in the phases is complete?
Mhm.
Yes, because otherwise, you've got all the trucks that you just mentioned winding through this development in front of all those houses to get to the end. And that is a serious problem.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. I don't, go ahead and finish, I'm
No,
sorry.
that's,
I thought the construction road was only for the phase of developing the 18 lots.
Yeah,
No,
that's,
no.
no, absolutely, it's a requirement of these 18 lots. That's
No,
what I
no,
meant, I
no,
didn't mean to.
No, the duration to develop the 18 lots, not the develop the 18 homes.
I think that is, we're in the muck of we're not negotiating an agreement right now. We're just making a
No,
recommendation.
I'm
to the
asking
city
for
council.
clarification.
I
My
think-
understanding was the construction road was for the length of time that it would take us to develop, put this,
I think that's a
sewer-
perfectly fine interpretation.
Okay.
I can't
Not for the
speak to
construction of the home.
specifics of what it is. I think the city's point, the city's intent is that it be there to support the construction of the homes.
homes.
Right.
Yes.
The
Absolutely.
Construction of the homes is what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Until
I
the
think that's
construction of the
intent.
18 homes is complete, there's no reason you couldn't run a dirt road, a construction road to the backside of that development.
we'll run a dirt
And-
road.
And run trucks and equipment from the
Well-
backside into there and not through that neighborhood.
We'll run a dirt road, but
Right,
we
a
can't build a
temporary
construction
construction
road.
road.
No, I'll give you if it's dry enough that we can get all of our construction equipment and materials and everything delivered in there, we have a road there.
Sure.
That we'll use it. But if it happens to be a rainy day and we need pipe that's coming in to put in the street and the guy's got to drive down the road to deliver the pipe, I need to be able to do that. So, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. You're talking about a few trucks that are gonna come in and, let's say, drop off castings or pipe. And I built this road to city standards and we can't use it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I just think we want a path to the site, right?
Yeah.
That's
That's
all
not
I-
using the roads that
Yeah.
the city will accept and then have to, and just degrade them quicker. I think that's the concern of staff.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, sir.
I think all they're looking for is some way to get from Headwaters to these 18 homes without going through the neighborhood. That's, I believe, through construction. I don't think they care if it's a dirt road, gravel road, as long as you can stay out of the neighborhood, as I believe is the intent of that road.
And we'll do that as much as possible. All I'm telling you is if there's a circumstance that I have a truck sitting on Headwaters Parkway and we had 2 inches of rain, or we're in a rainstorm and he needs to deliver and he can't get through that temporary construction road, I need to be able, I'm just trying to be honest and candid with you guys, is that if we
And,
has
and I
to
think we're
deliver
probably
that
okay
pump-
with that, because it's, as long as it's reasonably used. I mean, yeah,
I'll
if
do
we
that.
get a 4-inch
I will put a rock
rainstorm.
entrance off the end of Headwaters Parkway, we'll put a rock entrance, off of the temporary cul-de-sac that's there, and we'll continue to use that road that we have for the development of those 18 lots.
I think that's what you're looking for, and that's city business to cover then, right?
Yeah, and I think
We just
that,
have it in our agreement.
I hear two different things.
Right,
That's
two
my
different
problem.
things.
I hear
The
two
development
different
of the lot.
definitions of things going on right now.
right, there's the lots and the development of the homes.
And there's when we can, but I'm not gonna wait if I have to.
Right,
That's
and
where I am not comfortable with this at all. So, I'm a no right now,
I'm honest,
or I'm a
no.
table.
Save it.
You know, I think if we pass this with what the miscommunication that's happening, we are gonna have people upset with what's going on in this part of the city.
100%.
That I think more work needs to be done to make sure we do it right and minimize impact on the people around this area. Which I don't think we're gonna happen here tonight. So I don't know if the city council wants to just take it all on their plate at their next.
what I would recommend is that any concerns you have are included as a part of the recommendation to council. And however this ends, as a recommendation for approval or recommendation for denial that goes to the city council, that any of your reservations we are recording them and making sure that they are in front of the city council on the 22nd. Or the 24th.
Can you put up the conditions? The packet isn't really hard to read for this section.
It's item 12.
These ones right here?
Now, we want to see page 89 of the staff report.
It's actually 30 through 34, I believe, is what we're talking about. The rest of it's all, that's normal requirements, but the question, the ones are 30 to 34, and like I said, 30 is done, 31 is completed. The infiltration basin, I kind of explained that there's, again, miscommunication or misunderstanding, and we can try to get that done, but because it's an existing pond, I don't know that it's impossible, but it would make it a whole lot easier to be able to finish it in the winter time when the ground is partially frozen, so you can get in there with equipment. The bituminous trail 33 is done.
So, Paul, what I'm discussing is we're gonna vote on what comes on, starts on page 88 of the staff report, for their recommendations. And one of the recommendations is this road. And that is recommendation number 12, construction and closeout.
Sorry, it's coming up.
89.
Temporary access to the.
Steve, what did you mean by applicant noted all additional items in the conditions?
What was was the question?
On page 99, the black line, or the black print, additional items, and then you've got a print in red that says applicant noted all additional.
Oh, that is the city engineer's letter. Let me see if I can. I have a version up that's not the full packet, so.
And to me, that,
Which one was it? Do you have a number in front of it?
Go back up, and right there. Are you talking about these additional
between
items?
21 and 22.
Yeah, right there.
I think that's Ryan saying that he's briefed them on these conditions and they noted.
Okay.
So let's go back to page 89 of the staff report.
To the actual conditions in the staff report?
Yes.
And you
'Cause
want,
this is what we're voting on.
And the way it's written in the staff report requires them to use the temporary access. And he would have to
Build everything.
negotiate with the city engineer or whoever if an unusual condition came up, like say with rain or other weather forces a delivery to go elsewhere.
Yeah, or we work with Chad Quigley, who's the inspector on site. I mean,
And
because-
that's between you and the city
because
as to
Ryan
how.
isn't always around, but Chad is usually around in the city.
Well, and
Wait a minute.
I just want,
Page 89?
Yeah, if you look on
89, number
89 of 112,
Thank you.
and it's number 12 at the very bottom.
it's up on the screen.
There you go, it's up on the other screen now if you want. Susan.
I think if we're gonna proceed with this vote tonight, I think 12 needs to be modified for the construction of the homes, because there's a misinterpretation of what that means. Because, I mean, I've done construction myself, I've had a lot of work done on homes. Those guys don't pay attention when they're going to a job. They're gonna be flying through that neighborhood. And it's not just deliveries, it's the crews, it's the workers. So I think that needs to be cleaned up somewhat, so it's clear.
I will say that the current development agreement for Phase 3 has this temporary access requirement, but there's a pretty big flexibility to allow them to use the neighborhood. So they allow them to use the neighborhood as needed. It's really open, it's really written. Largely, most of the deliveries are through the neighborhood. That is, the point of that is saying is that they've been pretty responsible driving through the neighborhood. Going through there, I recognize the risk. I was just presenting, like, this has been happening through the neighborhood for the first 3 phases. There hasn't been an incident, not saying there won't be, but just, there's nothing to say that they're driving dangerously, they're not abiding by the requirements, and there are requirements in the DA, morning briefings of all the truck drivers, 15-mile-per-hour speed limit, et cetera, to minimize any risk to the current neighborhoods. The real concern is now we're at 3. We'll have those additional, 125 minus 18. that houses that could be developed, and roads that have been accepted by the city, and this potential additional traffic from these trucks would potentially damage. That's a concern, the safety of the residents as well as the acceptance of the infrastructure that the city has done. That's where our public works and engineer folks are coming from.
So to clarify this from where I think the city's standing, all we need to do in 12 is to modify it. It says, all construction, traffic, and deliveries through construction of the 18 homes shall use a temporary.
Thank you.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Susan agrees to maybe take it and run.
That's it. That's a win.
And then the city can decide what they want to do with it, city council. Any other concerns?
How do we handle the ponding? That is a requirement that they say they can't do before they do the rest.
If we pass, if we say the pond and then if council wants to take it out, they can take it out. But it stays as far as I'm concerned.
100% stays.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting taking it out. I'm just saying, how do we say it? How do we deal with it, with an applicant who says they can't do one of the conditions? That's all I'm saying, is that it's clearing up the miscommunication.
Mr. Brueggemann has a very long history of development, and I'm very, very sure we'll make things happen.
We can clarify that if you don't mind with Ryan. There's a miscommunication between us and this letter. Did Ryan put that together?
The engineer memo?
Ryan Goodman.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
The engineer memo with the
So
red
we
lines?
need to talk to him and clarify that, and if you guys want to leave that in, and then we can work that out. If we're wrong, then we'll have to figure it out. We don't do this phase. We just stop, till next year. I don't know.
I'm just saying, as this is written,
I understand.
that has to be done before you
I
can.
understand your confusions, and I also understand the confusion on the construction road. Everything in me would tell me that it's not the construction of the 18 homes, it's the construction of the 18 lots. But you guys do what you feel comfortable you have to do and send to the city council, and hopefully we can meet with staff and figure this out before we get in front of the council.
Excellent. All right.
Okay? Any other questions?
Questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
So, further discussion, motions?
I will just say that I'm uncomfortable. That's where I'm at, so. I don't think what we're passing is gonna be the final thing, so I don't know what we're doing.
Okay, I'm going to move approval of the final plat and recommending to city council with the clarification on 12, item number 12, that all construction traffic shall and Paul, you said including
Through construction of the houses.
yes. Okay, with that amendment, but the rest of the engineer's memo and the city staff conditions to be maintained.
You don't think the words "all construction, traffic, and deliveries" is enough?
I have a motion.
Okay.
I need do I have a second?
I'll second that. I mean, I think it's already implied, but I'll second it as she
And
stated
discussion
it.
on the motion?
Yes, and the reason I said homes is because we've heard that the developer's intention is that construction is only construction of the streets and the lots. All right, so that way, I have clarified for
Okay.
my obligation to the future residents.
Define expectations, that's the key.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Further discussion?
I,
Go ahead, Andy.
I think it would be wise to slightly modify that and give a little bit of leeway for the city staff or engineer in case they have that one lot or that one home that hasn't been finished or sold yet, that they have to maintain that construction road for that one. If there's the one, they only get 17 sold and built, they don't have to hang on. I think there should be just a little bit of caveat to that, but I do think, I like the language, but just giving that.
The majority, because you're right,
No.
and if you look at the road, they can't build two of the houses if the roads are there. I mean, that's 5 and 6, it just,
I think you can run it on the property line, but I think the intent is you always have one or two lots in a development that take a while to sell and build, that we don't want to have that muddy road for those two things. But again, I'm going to just say this and I'll be done. I'm still uncomfortable. I think I'm voting no.
The
So-
majority of the traffic in a construction zone starts once construction starts, right?
Well, majority is 50%. I'm not looking for any other, at this time, I'm not accepting any other amendments to my motion.
okay? Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Motion carries 6-1. This will go before the city council next Monday,
Week from Monday.
August
a week
24th.
from Monday.
Thank you.
Good luck with your discussion with them.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul. All right, we'll move to, we have no items to discuss tonight, just updates.
Just updates.
We do not have our esteemed council person here, so we'll start with you, Stephen.
I think we kind of talked about it, the kind of the magic behind this commission, as well as the Economic Development Authority. Don Boogie, will be leaving the city next Tuesday. Personally, it is a heck of a loss. She has been fantastic watching her work, the magic behind everything. Things just happen. Not forcing religion on anybody, but please pray for us for the next few weeks as we try to find somebody to fill her giant shoes. She is a heck of a loss for us, and will be missed personally as well as professionally. So that's it as it pertains to personnel. Another update is, as we said, we'll have Hidden Creek South. We'll be coming back for preliminary plat. If you remember, in February, we had a public hearing, and when the public hearing was complete, the development was tabled to discuss some considerations from the city on Headwaters Parkway width. As a part of those conversations, Headwaters Parkway right-of-way was reduced, I think, from 100 feet wide at the beginning of Hidden Creek South to 84 feet wide, which allowed the addition of one additional lot. So you'll see that preliminary plat in 2 weeks. To pick it up, we've talked with our city attorney, no need for another public hearing, we've already had it, that the changes weren't substantial enough to require that. So we will pick it right back up after a 9-month hiatus, 8-month hiatus, and get that going through to get entitlements for Hidden Creek South, and that is the 2 giant parcels just to the south of what we were talking about today, and the other side of what will soon be Headwaters Parkway. So that's all, and then Michael probably has about 15 different things in 2 weeks, so.
Any questions for Stephen?
Who's the developer on Headwaters South?
The same person you saw today?
I was wondering that.
Yeah. And John Dobbs, it's the Headwaters Land Group, again.
Perfect.
Michael?
No updates from me. Thank you.
Jesse? I was expecting an update based on what Steve told. Jesse?
No updates.
Don?
Nope.
Andy?
Nothing.
We're good.
Susan?
No.
I have none, so with that, the chair will, looking for my question is, we'll meet in 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
With bells on.
All right. With that, the chair is looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion, I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second, non-debatable motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.